Hey, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, the whole internet. It's Kendall with Lawnbot here. Hope you're doing well. Wanted to come to you live and give you a quick tutorial of our Measur.it software. So we have a lot of cool things going on at Lawnbot. We're always working on products and thinking about, hey, how can we make the buying process more simple, more easy, so that you can sell your services online. And we've been getting a lot of questions about our measuring tool. So I thought I'd shoot this quick video for future people that have questions about the tool. But then maybe it will answer anybody's questions who are considering getting Lawnbot. So with that, I have a Ben shout out in the house with Lawn Care. He was one of our guests on Lawnbot Live so far. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I'll take you through Measur.it and some common questions that we get, and also where it's headed. So what's cool is we launched it in May, and we just got it out the door. We want to launch things fast here, get feedback so we can improve the product. And we have some really cool improvements planned to really make it. It was already easy before, but now it's going to be like way 10 times easier than it was before, if you could even imagine that, right? So let me share my screen here, and I'll take you through the tool. We're pretty proud of it. We actually learned directly from our customers about what they needed and what they were looking for. So many of us are familiar with like Zillow. Zillow works great for a lot of things. Like the lot size, but it doesn't work so good for like estimating turf square footage or linear foot. And we ran into a roadblock really early on around Zillow and the limitations of Zillow. And you're like in the office, hey, what if you could just color in your lawn? Like, what would that look like? And so we started playing around with some concepts, and we landed on Measur.it. And Measur.it comes standard in all of our company. Everybody that has Lawnbot automatically gets Measur.it built right in. So this is the current version. We're working on V2 right now of Measur.it, and we're going to roll that out as soon as we complete it. But anyway, this is version 1. You can see that it's super simple for the clients to look for their address. See, I'll just type in a random address here. And if you want to play around with this, click on the link in the description. You can literally type in any address in the world and measure it. Measure it, get it? Measure it. So you could type in something in China and measure square footage if you wanted to. So let's see, I'll type in this address. Boom, pulls up the house. And oftentimes with measuring tools, if you've ever measured a lawn in the past, you're familiar with like the points and the lines. Click, 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 click. Yeah, that's not what Measur.it is. We built it so that the client can just draw, right? Many of us as humans were very versed with like coloring. So it's a really easy concept for people to understand and also to do on a phone. The whole points and lines thing doesn't work so hot on a phone. And it's really difficult. If you've ever tried it, you feel my pain. But if you've ever tried it on a phone, it's just not very fun. So this is Measur.it 1.0. Like I mentioned, we have 2.0 coming out soon. And I just measured that in about, 15 seconds maybe. And oftentimes when you measure the parkways, typically with Google Maps, you have to like measure this and then either go across the sidewalk and then do that. And it's just super complicated. What else is cool is we have this little go back button. So I'll take you through all the buttons here. So here's the save button. When the client's done measuring, they click save. That's one of the big feature improvements. Actually, when the client's done measuring now, there's going to be a big button across the bottom here that says get my quote, right? So there's going to be no question like, what do I do next after I'm done measuring? So we're pumped about that. There's the trash can. Trash can obviously deletes the measurement. And then there's the go back button. So this is like, so they don't have to like redo their whole drawing. They can just simply go back and like, oh, I got too much of the garden there. Or, hey, I want to get this little fine tooth comb We're actually working on a product right now for a company called Fresh Mulch, and they're actually going to sell bags of, they've got a really cool product. It's a physical product, and their users are actually going to be able to take the smaller brush size here and go around the house. It's like a product that's meant to be applied around the house, some sort of like weed fabric. And based on that square footage, you can see the square footage at the top left. It's going to recommend the number of bags of something, and then they just click one button, adds it to the cart, and then that user will be able to check out at that point. So that's kind of cool. But let's just let's refresh the page here. Let's see what else we can measure. So, fun fact, this is actually the neighborhood where we grew up, or I grew up, and we set it as the default location. If you're ever playing around with Measur.it and you're wondering where it is, it's Grand Rapids, Michigan, and pretty interesting. So, we get questions about accuracy, like, how accurate is the tool? Well, if you know about football fields, don't quote me the exact square footage right on this live stream, but we're getting pretty darn accurate. Now I'm just doing this. This is like my second time doing it. Yeah, look at that. Look at that, folks. We'll see how much we get here. It's like, I think it's like 73,000. No. Let's see how much it is. I think we're pretty close there. Anyway, if you know the square footage of a football field, drop it in comments below if you know the square footage of a football field. I think I overmeasured a little bit. Let's get down to a fine-tooth comb. Let's get the small brush size. Anyway, like I said, if you want to play around with this, feel free to click on the link in this post, and you'll be able to play around with our measuring tool. Another hidden benefit of this tool is that in Georgia, for starters, a lot of people only get the fronts and the sides done, right? Or maybe they want just the backyard done. In the South, they have different turf types between the front and the back. And Nate, yes, I can. Yes, I can. If you drop your address in comments, maybe you can delete it after. I can pull it up and I'll measure it in real time for you. What we noticed in Georgia was customers would just want the front yard done. And what you'll see all the time in Georgia, when we see Georgia sales come in, 57,600 square feet. Let's see, Ron Kitchens and his owl. Let's see where we're at. 57.2. So you can see I'm probably off a little bit down here in the end zones and maybe along the team line, but hey, 400 square feet ain't bad, considering I'm sitting here in my toasty office and I don't have to go out there. So I all in all, I consider that a win. Maybe I can color in a little bit more. Typically what we see is, folks, if they're coloring with their finger, maybe it's a little bit more. But when you factor in the fact you have to drive out there, the fact that they bought themselves, it's been a huge win-win. Dave said 57,600 for a football field. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. So as you can see, pretty damn close, I'd say. And here's the thing. Oh, look, I forgot this little area right here. I bet you that's there's 400. Let's get it along this goal line a little bit. In this little corner. Wow. Lawn bot in the house. Right on the money, right? Pretty damn close. So let's see here. Let's go measure. Let's see. Let's refresh this. We'll pick out a random house here. So, it's just really intuitive, right? And we're trying to make it better and better over time. So here's a corner house. Typically, if you've ever measured with like Google Maps, it can be extremely difficult because you're dealing with parkways, you're dealing with driveways, you're dealing with apparently a bus stop is here as well, right? So we're going to lock the map. Nice visual, quick instructions. We're updating those in version 2 as well. and the client can just simply color in. But the best part is, the most beautiful thing about this whole process is Measur.it plus LawnBot. They can color in their lawn and sign up and become a customer. So that's probably one of the most exciting parts is this user hit your website, read your beautiful Google reviews. They're pumped. They're jacked. They're going to buy from somebody, right? They're going to buy from you or maybe your competitor. I don't know. But what's really cool about our tool, what I find really cool, I actually used to own a lawn care company. What I find really cool about our tool is that homeowner can measure their lawn, tell you exactly where they want treated, right? Maybe they only want the front yard done. Maybe they only want the backyard done. Well, there's no obscurity. Boom, here it is, and that image is saved for you and your team. So when they sign up, they give you their credit card, made the sale, you get the image of the house, you get the square footage that was quoted, you get everything, close to everything. So that's pretty cool. So what I think is cool too is you can actually use the tool for other things. You know, this let's say this pool right here. I don't know. Let's just measure it quick. All this is doing, the technology is actually really cool. So it's using like latitude and longitude lines, very similar to like how Google Maps measures, but the UI and the UX of actually how the user does it is just a little bit different. We think a little bit differently here, and I think it works out to be a little bit better, especially on a mobile device. So you can see I just measured that pool, 821 square feet. Nice size pool, right? So really cool technology, and I think it really sets us apart from everything else out there right now. If you've looked at other instant quoting tools, if you've looked at other tools to sell your services online in the green industry, a constant objection we would get is, how do you know the turf square footage of the house? Another question we get is, well, what if I have a lot of addresses in my system? You know, I've been in business 30 years. Does Measur.it, you know, will LawnBot like look at my database? And we tried it. We tried it. It didn't work out very well. What we found to work the best was getting the lead involved, right? Getting the lead involved in the process, so that there's no obscurity around it. They're coloring in their lawn. They know exactly where their lawn is. They freaking live there, right? Can you see property lines on the map? Seth, that's a update. We're looking in version 2. We think that'd be really, you know, as they say, great minds think alike. We think that would be an awesome feature and update, is if you could see property lines. Right now, there's no property lines. We find that homeowners really know where their property lines are. They live there. They kind of know it the best. But that's a feature we're looking at adding in version 2.0 is property lines. And I don't want to talk about it because I'll probably see it pop up in my Facebook feed, somebody stealing it. But we're going to be, I shouldn't say it. Shouldn't say it. But anyway, we're making a lot of feature updates to Measur.it, and it's going to be epic. So snow plowing in Canada, we have customers using it for snow plowing. So I was talking to a Canadian company who's looking at it. He's like, well, we ask like how many cars are in the driveway and blah, blah, blah. Is it a corner lot? And I said, dude, you're doing it all wrong. Like, not wrong, but just like, how about they just color in the parking lot? Okay. Look, boom, boom. They just simply color in the parking lot where they need snow removal. In this case, it'd be a commercial site, right? And you should have some sort of square footage price. Like, you should have an idea of how long this amount of square foot would take to plow. So we're seeing people use it for snow plowing. People use it for perimeter pests. People use it for mosquito. People use it for lawn care company or dirt and weed control. People use it for mowing. All types of services. So it's really exciting. I mean, even asphalt, like paving, right? Like, it's kind of fun. So if you want to play around with it, lawnbot.biz/measure. Lawnbot.biz/measure. Here. I think that's the right one. We spell it a little differently. Measure with an E, the domain was taken, right? So lawnbot.biz/measure. Go around and play with it, feel as much as you like. What's interesting is all of our LawnBot customers get to use this tool for free. So sometimes it's nice to double check measurements as well. So maybe if somebody goes through LawnBot, signs up, becomes a customer, you have their Measure image. If you use Real Green Systems, it's in your Real Green system. You're able to go on Measure.it and actually double check versus like what they drew, right? Or maybe, you know, they missed the parkway. Well, you can just go on there and add the parkway and send it back to them. Hey, Mrs. Jones, here's what it actually is, and here's what the actual square footage is. So that's kind of cool as well. So lawnbot.biz/measure. Let's do a fun one here. Let's go to China. China, as they say. China. All right. Let's see where we're at here. That looks like Montreal. Let's go over here somewhere. Whoa. It's getting real. Just flew across the country in about 4 seconds. Awesome. So we got some melons here. South Korea, North Korea, Mongolia. Let's see. Sure. Let's do it. So I don't know exactly where this is, but I think it's in on the other side of the world. Yeah. Let's see here. I need to find like a city. Oh, there we go. There's lots of roads. That should be a city. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Apparently lawns aren't big in China. Who would have figured? So let's say, let's lock this little map. This building. So what you're looking at is the first version of the tool. It's the 1.0 version. And we built this one first, and now we're working on version 2.0, which is going to take all the feedback we learned from 1.0 and make this product even better so that we're able to allow more companies to sell their services online and also sell more of their services and increase the close rate as well. So we're looking at doing some focus groups with this tool, really learning how to bridge that gap between homeowners wanting to sign up for services and actually being able to, and allow the most amount of people to get through this estimation process as possible. So if you want to go play around with this, go to lawnbot.biz/measure, lawnbot.biz/measure. Feel free to play around with it as much as you like. We're going to leave that link live for a while. I'm not sure when we're going to pull it down, but it will be pulled down at some point. But for now, feel free to go play around with it. If you have any questions, feel free to either drop them in this comment thread below or reach out to the team. We'd be happy to answer them. We're always thinking of, hey, how to improve this tool so that it can help as many companies as possible. So let's go back to Utah. Ogden, Utah. Let's try that one. So let's see. I'm over here in Utah. I like Utah because they have some just interesting lawns out there. Shout out to all of our customers in Utah. They've got very unique lawns in Utah, like this one, for example. They just so close together. I think this person actually signed. This house looks familiar. I think they might have actually signed up through LawnBot. Super interesting. So Utah lawns are just really interesting because some people have like xeriscaping in the front, but lawn in the back, and they're just very interesting properties. Not like just different from, I guess, what's over on our side of the country. So you lock the map, boom, and let's measure. Maybe the parkway. Oh, this parkway's a little skinny. Kind of like me before COVID. Oh, just kidding. Let's see here. Measure that. Measure this little guy. And yeah, that's my lawn. So as you can see, it's 2,300 square feet. And at that point, the customer, if you're using LawnBot, will be able to sign up and pay for services. So we think this is just the start, it's just the beginning. We're going to continually make updates to this product to make it the best product it can be. Constantly learning from our customers, constantly watching the images come in, and watching the experiences unfold on our side so that we can make the product as strong as it can be. So let's measure, I don't know, what would be fun to measure here? Let's see what we got cooking. An unforeseen use for this is the aquatic folks. Just thought of that. So people that apply to lakes, maybe they can use it internally. I'm sure they're just using Google Maps now. A little bit different of a use case, but still give you some interesting information. So the whole premise of measuring by satellite's obviously not new, but the whole premise of measuring by coloring is new. To me, now, what we've seen is use cases where it is measure it right for every instance. I don't think it is. I think if you're trying to get a scalpel accurate precision measurement, then Measur.it's probably not the best. But if you're, on a phone, on a tablet in the field, or here's the thing, you're not a geospatial engineer, then Measur.it is absolutely the best tool. Like homeowners, for example, they don't know how to use the Google Maps with the points and the lines. They know how to color in their lawn, though. So Jobs had an interesting quote. He said, the ultimate user experience is not having to teach somebody how to use it. He talked about this with the iPhone. Like he said, a 4-year-old should be able to pick it up and just start using it, like kind of intuitively. That's kind of how we think about Measur.it. Like we're trying to build this so that you don't have to give somebody instructions of how to use it. They can just kind of look at it and intuitively start. All right, that's how easy it should be. That's the vision. So what you're looking at is 1.0, and where we're headed is, right, the promised land where anybody could pick it up and within seconds without instructions, figure it out, color in their lawn. So that's kind of where we're headed. So with that, if you want to go play around with it, I highly encourage you to do it. It's lawnbot.biz/measure. So you can play around with the measuring tool and kind of see what your potential leads will be using to measure the lawn, right? You'll notice on there as well, if you just do a little dot, it will pop up and say, oops, are you sure you want to continue? And that's our computer vision network. So check that out too. It's kind of cool. And we're going to continue perfecting that as well. So like with each measurement, the machine learning gets smarter, right? With each measurement, it gets smarter and smarter and smarter, and kind of trains itself to detect a good measurement and a bad measurement. So feel free to play around with it, lawnbot.biz/measure. And we'll see you on Friday for LawnBot Live.